You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. Ray, Wole, and Mo are your hosts. What's good, fam?
Ain't much, man. How y'all doing, man? We got some WFT news to discuss, man.
You see, Ray, I couldn't hide the pleasantries. I had to be regular, Ray. Want to make sure
No, no,
Ray
no, no.
knew.
You can always be regular. You see, Mo don't get the same answer all the time, like nothing much. But since you mentioned the other show, just a shout out to the urban sports scene, because if you listen live, you will hear some of the same commentary from myself. Because I can't say but so much about Brandon Scherff. But shout out to the Washington football team, continue to make the right moves. Shout out to urban sports scene too.
Shout out,
You
man.
know,
Shout
I
out.
see you,
Yeah.
Wole,
You know
represent.
what I'm saying? You know what
Mo,
I'm
you
saying?
got to go to the store and order it.
No, I got Mo. Mo know he's taking care of Mo is he all right, though. He good. He going to get one.
Go to
He
the
good.
store and order it. Place your order, Amazon.com/urban sports scene.
Man,
40% off when you
Mo
mention.
good, bruh. Mo good, man. It's an African connection thing, man. Mo, you watch Coming to America, man? My African
man,
connection, man. You watch it?
man, I watched it, man. I was a bit disappointed, but then
Is
I remembered how cheesy Eddie Murphy's become once he became a family. Eddie Murphy, I forgot how cheesy he's been, since he completely did the
the
revamp of his
kid, Doctor
career.
Doolittle. You talking about
Yeah,
Doctor Doolittle type
like
stuff?
when he went from saying that adult content gets you two people buy a ticket, but family content gets you at least four to six people have to buy a ticket because you got to bring everybody out.
Uh huh.
So I think he's making a lot of money off his thinking, and he's riding
Yeah.
that wave. So it's so far fetched to believe that he's the man from Delirious.
It's crazy.
It's
But you
crazy,
know what? No, but you know what though? You see, you know what's still in him because when you watched him on Saturday Night Live, right? When he came
right?
on, he was regular Eddie. Like that was regular Eddie. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
and even if coming to America, like it wasn't like the more. I mean, truth be told, kids should be watching it anyway because it still was some parts in it were like, hey, because I had my niece. I was like, hey, hey, hey. I was like, hey, relax, relax. But yeah, to your point, I know what you're saying. I just thought it was lazily done, to be honest with you. But that's just me. I feel like I hold Eddie in the highest regard. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead,
Two
right? I'm sorry.
words for you, father time. We
Father
mellow
time.
out as we get older. You want this man to continue to be
Yeah,
this
I
flippant
do.
talking
Don't
guy as he ages. Like, let the man transition into his
age
Bill Cosby
gracefully.
years
Age gracefully. Is that
in
what
a
you're
good
trying to
way.
tell him?
Huh?
Yeah, nah, I want ignorance, dog. Ignorance is bliss. That thing. I'm sorry.
I mean, really, I could have done without Wesley Snipes. Like you said, there's some talented African actors and comedians that should have
Yo,
naturally played the role versus
Man,
the
yeah,
cast that we saw. You had
yeah.
to have the originals, of
You
course.
had to. You had to.
And
The
then
risk had to be there.
and then Michael Blackson, his role was very minor.
Roach and me, and Michael. What you made Roach and me mute for? The dude was on Power. Like, why are you making him mute? Like, come on now. Like
man.
he bigger than the prince. Like you making him mute?
But
Come on, bro.
a lot of people just wanted to be a part of it because of how long it's been since the first original came out,
Like Rick
and
Ross.
it's like a cultural thing. Everybody just wanted to be in it, man. And you can tell, like Eddie and them went to their comedic Rolodex and called all
Yeah,
their homeboys and homegirls.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you had Lunell in there. You had I forget who you had Tracy Morgan, of course.
Yeah, Tracy Moore had to be. Yeah, I get it.
But
I get it.
the other dude that was at the table when they was in the apartment, he's a comedian also. I forget his name. He's a
Mhm.
big time comedian. There's a lot of comedians in there just standing around,
Yeah, definitely.
just
I would
wanting
say
to
you
be a
gonna
part
have.
of
Yeah, yeah, I'm saying you gonna have Michael Blackson, then use Michael Blackson. He's
it. Right.
actually African. He's funny as hell. Like use him. Like don't
I
just
mean,
have him.
Michael Blackson was his usual self, loud and
Yeah, but
obnoxious and
utilize him.
One line, Mo, one line. That's
Mo,
it.
yeah,
one
utilize
scene,
him.
one scene.
Yeah, utilize him. That's all I'm saying. Like utilize him. I mean, it's
Guy
killing
Brooks
me.
directed that movie.
Mm.
He didn't utilize his
Scott Brooks.
talent right the right
Scott Brooks,
way.
right? Because
Scott
Scott Brooks
Brooks.
directed that movie.
Scott Brooks directed Coming to America. He didn't utilize his talent. Michael Blackson's like Rui on
He like Rui,
Coming to America
not
cast.
used, man. What's really good though? Oh my god, man. I'm
I'm
sorry,
not
social media, you hearing me? And you're like, why am I so critical of it? Man, I'm African. I can be critical as I want to. It's coming to America.
Hey,
Take
listen,
that with
we
it.
earned that one.
You know what I'm saying? For real. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Search all Burgundy and Gold everything. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. It's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. Like Ray mentioned, we're going to talk about Brandon Scherff. The Washington football team franchised him for the second time. They announced this yesterday. It's a non-exclusive franchise tag. Mo, when you heard the news, what did you think of it of the move? And also, looking at the move, is this a smart investment for the organization to invest in a guard?
Listen, you would never hear me say anything bad about Brandon Scherff from the day he was drafted in 2015. You guys stole my pick being a Giants fan. Because of you guys, Jerry made a panic drafted Eric Flowers out of Miami. And look where the careers went. Look where Brandon Scherff was a tackle in school, but when he came out, they kind of were talking about him being a guard. So he has position versatility, right? As it is. Last year he was all pro. He has multiple Pro Bowls. He's never missed a start. He's missed some games, but he's never missed a start. I think you reward your stalwarts, right? You reward your people that have come in and worked and have been quiet and have not caused any commotion and are professionals. And when you look at this regime, I always take everything back to this regime. Every argument I've ever had is about how this regime has changed culture, has changed life, and you want to continue in that direction. He's a big part of that, especially up front. You need continuity on the line, especially when you have the young guy come in from LSU that they're planning on playing this year. You don't have a legitimate left tackle. You hit me to the center. I went back and watched and read about the center. He's playing really well. So you've solidified your inside right there, right? Which you're going to need, because if we want to see Antonio Gibson maximize his talent, you need that right there, right? So now you have one whole side of the field, if you include Morgan Moses, that if Antonio goes to traversing that way, he has a cavalry in front of him, right? And he has probably the best guard, second best guard in football after Quentin Nelson. And you have Morgan Moses, and I keep forgetting the center's name. Don't forgive me. But and he's playing.
Roulier. He's talking Roulier.
And Roulier. So now you set your franchise up for success if you can hit on one of these young guys on the other side, because you're not going to replace Trent Williams. We know that's the hole. We know that's the major hole. I mean, but if you can get somebody to come in and be formidable on that side, I think now you have the makings of a good offensive line, and it doesn't matter who you put back there. They'll have time to throw to the Scary Terrys, to throw to the new additions that may come in free agency, the Logan Thomases, and open up holes for the offense and hopefully make the offense as versatile as it hopes to be. Because we know that Scott ain't going to do it.
Right.
Mo, everything you said is right. This is going to be a boring show because we all agree.
We all going to agree.
However, just to add to your point, forgive me for being redundant for anybody who listens to our other show, but you have to build a foundation, and I believe that Brandon Scherff is part of that foundation on the offensive side of the football, where obviously you struggled offensively last season, and you have to improve, and you have to take care of your own, as Mo said. I pointed out 39% on third down. It's horrible. If you don't sustain drives, I don't care how good your defense is, you keep them out on the field too long, they're not going to be as productive. So hopefully this coming season, you improve on third down efficiency. That screen game, which Antonio Gibson and McKissick, they show they're lethal. And Brandon Scherff is excellent in the run game and the screen game. I think that will help you sustain drives. It'll help you put points on the board. And we joked about Dak getting the bag before the show. That means the Cowboys offensively should be back to normal next season. That's going to be one of your bigger threats in the division. And you want to make sure that you're able to compete. This season, it was a cakewalk. This past season was a cakewalk against Dallas. But next season, I don't want a shootout. I want you to put your strength out there, which is your defense, and get those necessary stops, sustain drives. And like I said, that means, in my opinion, convert on third down. And that starts with the offensive line. And this really helps Scott Turner. He is somebody who is still young as a coordinator. He needs all the help he can get. Offensive lines sometimes are underrated. Like you said, just a guard, because that's how we think about it.
Yeah.
But look back at some of the great teams. Of course, we're in the division, Dallas. Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, they get a lot of love, but that was the best offensive line in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mo, if you old enough to remember
You're talking about Allen.
the I want to say early 90s to late 90s Dallas Cowboy offensive lines, best in football I've ever seen. And
I had to go back and watch.
And when you first think about those teams, you think about Irving, of course, again, Emmitt Smith, even Jay Novacek, Moose. You get all the names except for the guys up front.
Right.
So I'm telling you, bro, it's a great investment, and hopefully they'll continue to build the right way. I like what they're doing, and every move. I know there was some controversy this past week with the cheerleaders and them switching dance teams. If you were on Twitter, you saw that there was some back and forth. But honestly, that news was much quieter than the Brandon Scherff news. So just good luck for the Washington football team.
Yeah, you talking like guards like Larry Allen for the Dallas Cowboys, who was one of the best. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Basically, like, he's soon to be out. He's a Hall. I think he may be in the Hall of Fame already. I'm not sure, but he's a potential Hall of Famer, if not already. So we talk about guards, but this kid has been playing at a high level since he's come to the Washington football team. And so with Mo, and I'm gonna sound redundant too, Ray, but Mo pretty much hit it on the head where he stated that, like, you want to reward the guys that are in this building who were doing it. You know what I mean? You want to reward these dudes, because we talked about this in the legacy of the Washington football team under Daniel Snyder. Fans have always said, well, we don't like our own. We're going to try to pay for this other free agent, bring this other free agent in, and we value that free agent. And how come we don't value our own? Like, you heard fans for years say that we let this person walk out, but we're going to sign like a Deion Sanders or whatnot. Now there's a situation. No, I'm saying now there's a situation where you're rewarding a guy who has been a all-pro caliber guard for you when on the football field, and you're rewarding him with a contract. I understand that, all right, if you don't come up with a deal, you're gonna have to pay him $18 million. Well, that's $18 million that you're gonna pay for a guy that's probably gonna be, like you mentioned, arguably the best guard, but probably number 2, right? So you're gonna pay for a guy who's one of the arguably the best guard in football, arguably. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to want him if he leaves, he gets out the market, and they're going to pay high top dollar for him. It may not be 18, but it'll be close to 18. All right. When you get 2 teams bidding for somebody, it will be close to 18. So you're keeping this guy in-house. You keep the continuity. That's important. You mentioned the guys on the O-line. He's worked with these guys. He's worked with Morgan Moses ever since he's been in the league. So him and Morgan Moses have a synergy together. So now that side is solidified because these two have chemistry. Now you're worried about the left tackle situation where you're hoping maybe the kid from LSU pans out to be that guy, and if not, you may have to go elsewhere. But the coaching staff is quite high on the kid from LSU. So now you got a situation where, like you mentioned, you're building an O-line for a running game that you need, or the quarterback that you hope that whoever quarterback you're going to have run this football team to make sure that this quarterback isn't in the dirt 24/7. So it's a situation where I think it's a move you need to make to create continuity and chemistry. It's a great move for the Washington football team.
And outside of continuity, it gives them another chance to get to the negotiation table, right? Yeah. We know the point is to keep this man around. You want this kind of player in your franchise for a long time, right? Yeah. Now you bought yourself until July to get a contract, and if not, you play. You play it out. And then you still get to negotiate during the season. Yeah. And then you hopefully lock them up so you don't have to get in the situation again. If not, then once you've exhausted all resources to keeping them and retaining them, you can hang your hat on that if he goes, right? Yeah. But you have to give yourself a chance, because the minute Brandon Scherff would have hit the open market, Brandon Scherff would have got a contract for at least $16 million. Some team would have gave him 5 years, $16 million per, making $1 million a game, and gave him some continuity so that because the one thing about Brandon Scherff is he hasn't finished the season in the last 3 years. That's the only knock on him. Yeah, it's a good only knock on him. He's missed some games in the last 3 years. So the idea that, yes, it may not be 18 million, but if you give me close 16, somewhere around 15, 16 million, but you give me that security behind my deal and I get a bunch of that money up front, then I'm willing to go. So you can't allow him to hit the open market.
2 things. One is this move also just signifies, for me at least, that this team is committed to pounding the rock, running the football. You average just over 4 yards a carry. 1,600 yards as a team, which is excellent, but you can improve upon that this season, depending on what you do at quarterback, but they're showing they're committed. Number two, and this is in a totally different, I guess, conversation, but it still is, important, at least for me. And that is the Brandon Scherff move is not national news. In the division, Dak Prescott was the news today. I was watching Around the Horn. I posted this on Twitter. Yes, Clinton Yates, who claims to be from DC, I don't know where he's from. It don't even matter for real. He ain't on this show. Forget him. But he said Dak re-signing basically says that Dallas has a division. Tim Calishaw, who covers who? He covers the Cowboys. He said, hold up, I want to see what Washington football team does first at quarterback because they were so good last year defensively. If they get the right quarterback, they're going to be scary. And his reply was, oh, we're talking about you're scared of the Washington football team. What does that say about you? So I'm like, all right, I'm not a Washington football team fan, but to me, that's bulletin board material for my team that won a division. It's like, that's disrespectful that you think when we're coming off a year, we won a division and our defense, a young defense that's going to get better under a regime that's now going to have a full offseason and going to bring in some of their own talent. I think Washington football team is going to be scary. And again, they are building the right way.
The scary part is where you lost me. All right. The only thing scary about the offense is Terry. All right.
The offense. I'm talking about the team as a whole.
I'm just talking about
including coaching.
I can't say that they're scary because what they have to do at quarterback and what the importance of having a quarterback is to this team is major. Until that's solidified, I'm not going to go with scary. I'm going to be respectful, and I'm going to say they won the division last year, no matter what the circumstances are. I'm going to say they have you have to give them their props for that. You have to give them the inside track to that because Dallas has some other issues. I think a lot of people are glossing over all the other issues.
The defense.
They still can't cover, and their linemen are hurt.
Right.
Guy Smith keeps getting hurt. Zach Martin keeps getting hurt. Fredericks retired last year. La'el Collins was hurt last year. So they was 0-3 for a reason before they got to, before Dak or whatever they were before Dak got hurt for a reason. It's because they couldn't, even though he was throwing the ball all around the park, they couldn't protect him. They couldn't protect him. And most importantly, they could not control the time of possession because they didn't have those inside guys anymore for Zeke Elliott to get to the second level of defense. As we know, Cowboys, you guys told me about the original Cowboys line. The new Cowboys line 2.0 had a little bit of that in them in the sense that Ezekiel Elliott isn't wiggling past anybody. Zeke Elliott's going to press the hole. He's going to hit it. And by the time he gets up on the linebackers, it's like, oh, my God, 225 is coming at me at 4.4, and it's about to be a car accident. Right. And a lot of people get out the way or they're not in that hole. And now he's, when he was at his best, he's at the second level of defense. And there's only like 3 safeties in the league that's going to hit that coming, like that. And that hasn't been happening. They've been catching Zeke before he gets started. If you've noticed, most of Zeke's big plays the last 2 years after he got paid is in the passing game once he catches the ball in space because he becomes like a bowling ball. He gets rolling. So with the offensive line not being intact, but Dak being there now, I still cannot say that Dallas has it outright. I have to give Washington their kudos because that defense is hellacious. We saw it last year, but you still got to figure out their quarterback position before I'm comfortable in saying that they're scary.
A lot of questions. I'm sorry I said scary. Go ahead. I meant to say they could be scary if I didn't.
Well, they have the potential. I feel like they have the potential to be scary. They have, like to Mo's point though, they have to solidify the quarterback situation. I think they're in a position, and we're going off top. It's cool though. This organic conversation right now. They're now in a position where they're looking to better their quarterback situation. So now that from who's ever out there on the market, they've already said Alex are gone. So you already know they're thinking a different way. They're thinking like, you know what, we need to get a better quarterback to run this operation, who's going to let us do everything we want to do in our offense. They want to do more in their offense. They don't want to just do one thing well. They want to do more in their offense. So I think Mo got kicked off, but they want to do more in the offense. So hopefully with Alex, they're going to try. Not with Alex. When Alex gone, and they're going to find a quarterback who is going to help them to do more with Antonio Gibson, maybe who can run some when they run read option, you know, you could be scared of Antonio Gibson and the quarterback. Or you got a quarterback who's willing to take the deep shot. They just want a quarterback. They're going to get a quarterback, in my opinion, that's going to be able to do every which way, and which, again, is important. The Brandon Scherff sign is important to that because now that's all together. Like, that quarterback's not going to have time in the pocket. The run game with the quarterback and Antonio Gibson is going to be an option for this football team. My man Mo's back. So, like, this to me, when you having Brandon Scherff on this team, it shows that, you know what, they're trying to do whatever it takes to make this team better. So they're going to try to, again, get another quarterback, get a wide receiver, hopefully get a wide receiver. Just heard Detroit they're not franchise tagging Galladay. So there are players on the market where, you know, Washington hasn't, like to Ray, they haven't gone all in on somebody like Deshaun Watson. They got players that they can try to go after. They got other players, other secondary, I won't say secondary players, but other players that can help us fill this roster to make this team, to Mo's point, to make them scary for Mo. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying.
It's just a quarterback for me, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say
it's
that.
factual. No, what you're saying is factual though. Don't get it twisted.
That quarterback position is vital, man. You just got rid of a top 15 quarterback in the draft, a top 15 pick 2 years before the second year of his contract ending.
Yeah,
that's the first time ever. That's the fastest a first round draft pick has been moved on from, right? Like, Alex came in, he did his thing, he's gone. Yeah. He's been the only semblance of winning since the mid 90s.
For this team. Yeah.
He has the best winning percentage. As a quarterback for the Washington football team since like the Super Bowl era.
This is true.
However you want to dice that up, Ray. Ray, I think he was 6-3 the first year. This year he was at like 5-2.
Yeah.
Like, and he was 11-5 for his career. His percentage is probably like the second highest. It sucks, but it sucks that that's the truth because of how numbers fall. But I mean, look, man.
Oh, let's not talk hypotheticals. Like Allen Robinson, I'm glad he's off the market. I'm tired of hypotheticals. They signed Brandon Scherff. They're doing it the right way, and that's the point. Right now, the best front office in the NFC East. Period.
I'm glad that Allen Robinson got franchised so that you guys didn't make that mistake. Mm-hmm. Or so that the Washington football team did not make that mistake.
Right. So they got Brandon Scherff. So when they get a quarterback, we'll talk about it. But I'm just glad that they're starting to make moves. So we don't have to talk about, well, what if and what if. Because we all know, that's useless for now.
Right. Like, we all know how you win football games, especially in the NFC East. If our division is going to be the way our division, because, you know, well, if the NFC East is going to be the way that it was last year or close to it, we don't see a team winning 12 games or taking the lead and running away with it for years to come. Mm-hmm. We know how you got to win this division. You got to have a solid front line on offense and a solid front line on defense. It's like, damn it, you do, but you don't. You know what I mean? So they have what they call it, the catbird seat is what they call it. They're the catbird seat to win in the division because they're the team that has the most solid defensive line and offensive line combination. But they also have the biggest vacancy at quarterback.
I can't wait to see what they're going to do. I don't know. I have no clue right now, so I can't speak to it.
Quarterback, I have no idea what they're going to do.
We don't know yet.
No one knows. That's what I'm saying. Like, everybody, like, they're going to do this. They're not going to. I heard that they're not going to go after this person. You don't know. Shut up. I'm gonna take everybody acting like they know. The only person that knows is like Ray said, Ron Rivera knows. Like I'm sick of these people. This is my. If it ain't Adam Schefter, and I'm talking about this local market, and everybody can hear it. If you listen to the show, whatever. If it ain't Adam Schefter, I don't want to hear it.
I know. I heard Jimmy G might be an option because Kyle Shanahan is apparently in love with Mac Jones. This is what I heard. I'm just saying. So we really have no clue right now, and what we're going to go off is what we've seen. And Mo hit it on the head. The O line and D line right now, Washington's
that's what it is.
They're number one. They're number one.
That's the thing. That's how you build a football team. I'm glad you mentioned that, Mo, because that's how you build a football team. If you want to, I'm not saying that to raise points, sustain success, right? That's been the theme for the last couple of shows. Actually, for the last month, sustain. If you want to sustain, shut up, dude. Sustain success. I hate you. I'm saying your point on.
Reel
Look,
them in,
man,
Ray.
it's like you gotta have a
Playoffs.
defensive line and an offensive line, man. Like, so you gotta build that. So it may not result in winning a Super Bowl off the bat, but it will make you competitive. Because you look at teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars, like that's a good example to a point where they didn't win the Super Bowl or whatnot, but they were competitive because they built their defensive line, they built their offensive line with a run game with Leonard Fournette, and the quarterback was Blake Bortles, like Blake Bortles, who was a man quarterback.
They were
But they were killers though. But they were killers on the defensive line. They were killers with that run game. They played a certain style of physicality. So Washington can do the same thing, especially in the NFC East, where it's historically has been that type of division anyway. It's been deemed the black and blue division for years. So they can do that.
They can. I mean, Jacksonville that thing all the way to.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
Jacksonville definitely rode that thing all the way to like the 4-minute mark of the last game of the season before the Super Bowl. They just happened to run into the GOAT.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the GOAT operation and the GOAT coach. I mean, you lose that as a so Washington can give themselves a big advantage this offseason with the moves that they make. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. Even as a fan of the opposing team in the division, I want to see what they come up with, because I think that the Giants are number 2 behind them in both of those categories. In
Giants
defensive line and offensive line mix. Even though Danny Dimes he's not where he needs to be yet compared to what Washington football team has a quarterback right now. He even seems solid, you know what I mean, compared to what the Washington football team has a quarterback right now.
You said Daniel Jones? No, he's factory. That's right. I think I'll take that. I agree.
I'm just saying. I'm saying in relation to today. I'm not saying.
I agree. I actually agree with that.
This can all change. This can all change next Monday, next Tuesday at 5:30.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I
just want to see it play out. I want to see it play out.
Because it goes back to the point. We're talking about today's, quarterback. I mean, it goes to what Ray's talking about too. He said in the past, even with Heineke, it's a body of work, right? You only had like two games, if that, a game and a half. And with Daniel Jones, so this is the thing: if you stop Daniel Jones in his rookie year, like you just said, his rookie year, you would say Daniel Jones is on the come up. His rookie year was solid. You would say he's going to come up.
You got to take Daniel Jones' season last year with a grain of salt.
I'm only comparing it to like to a Heineke situation. We're talking about how people are short term. We're short term and everything. Like Heineke only played a game and a half, so you only have this amount of looking at him and saying, all right, he was. I mean, you look at he was great in a game and a half, but you look at
the most important of the season, so that adds to the allure.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was the most important game of the season, so it adds to the allure.
And no, it's a little more. It's a little bit more. I get a little bit more. It's a little bit more.
Garrison Matthews, baby. Garrison Matthews, a quarterback.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though. I'm saying like
Blaine Gabbert, Blake Bortles. That's a great comparison. Don't miss a quarterback, please.
Don't miss a quarterback. But just get a quarterback that's gonna fit your system. And and truth be told, you don't have to get the quarterback if you built your team a certain way. You just gotta get a favorable, comparable quarterback. Because truth be told, San Francisco beats Kansas City if Kyle doesn't get a little too arrogant. Like they don't get a little arrogant.
Bridgewater.
You think so? I think
Bridgewater.
I think if Jimmy doesn't,
I just think if he's kept the same game plan, he did some things that he kept to his same game plan. They beat Kansas City.
That's his track record. He did the same thing when Atlanta played the Patriots.
Yeah, he keeps that game plan. If he stuck to it, they beat him.
I don't know about the Atlanta Super Bowl, man. Listen, that offense was on.
We ain't gonna talk about that. Listen, this is all burgundy and gold. I love the fact that you put your Giants into every discussion. That's what's up. But you have a little more leverage since y'all in the division. You know what I mean? So I'm glad with it. But if we're talking about Kyle Shanahan, he got 2 L's in the Super Bowl, and it's a reason for that. I'm just saying. But, we're going to figure out later on in offseason who the quarterback's going to be. And then we're really going to be able to debate what's going to happen in this division, which honestly it's going to be difficult to predict, because I understand Philly looks like they're rebuilding, but don't sleep. Do not
I ain't
sleep.
gonna say
And Daniel
it's
Jones
bad.
is very talented. Daniel Jones is very talented.
Who Daniel
I
Jones
don't
is
know.
talented.
I want to see what the Giants are going to do at tight end and receiver.
I think Daniel Jones is talented.
What you say about Philadelphia? What you say about Philadelphia?
They trash,
so.
I'm still. I think Philadelphia's gonna be trash. I ain't gonna lie, Ray. I think they bad.
No.
They
I
gave up
understand
all
that,
the
but
way,
I'm just
dog.
saying, it's almost like
because they took away all. They don't got no much. They don't even got help. Dude don't even got help no more, dog. They everybody's gone.
No. I understand that. I'm just saying, in a division where there's rivalries, right?
Yeah, I know
there's intense rivalries. They're always going to play you hard.
Yeah,
it's just like that
true.
last game. In the last game of the season, everybody from Philly was hurt, right?
But they still play. Yeah, I got you.
Washington
I get
couldn't put them away. Couldn't put them away. It just happens like that when you're talking about rivalries. That's all I'm saying. But yes, of course, who's in the driver's seat? We can debate that. It's going to be between Dallas, New York, and Washington. So it's going to be fun, but we don't know yet. So for my mic drop, Brandon Scherff is the right move. We all on the same page on that.
We are.
Screw Kyle Shanahan.
You said Kyle Shanahan?
Nah, he's talented though. He's talented. You can't hate on Kyle Shanahan. Can't hate on him.
No, he's a talented brother, but I just think that but yeah, it's all depending on what they do within
Gotta close the deal. Gotta close the deal.
It all depends on what they, to most point, if they want to be competitive, it does depend on what quarterback they bring in. But to this topic, Brandon Scherff, to what they're trying to build in the future is essential to solidifying, competent football. I totally believe it, especially what you have already on the defensive side of the football field.
Absolutely.
I heard somebody say something about Garoppolo. That had me thinking, man. It had me thinking like that.
Don't even do that, bro.
I mean, I just think that I don't that level of quarterback to suffice for this team being good for
it depends. It does, but it depends what you bring in at linebacker. Then we got to talk about what you bring in at linebacker.
I'm just taking the team how it was last year. The linebacker position was a problem last year, so I'm gonna just leave it the same way, right? Even if that team was that bad, if the team is this bad, if you put a quarterback the level of Jimmy Garoppolo in this offense on this team.
You know what? The only issue with Jimmy would be on this team with this offense would be the OC.
You're talking about Jimmy. I didn't say Jimmy. I said a quarterback the level of Jimmy. Remember, we're talking about Bortles, right? We're talking about Blake Bortles. You know what I mean? So I'm talking about the level of Jimmy Garoppolo.
But all
those Teddy Bridgewater.
Right? I think Teddy. Okay, so the reason I think Teddy would be a good one. I know a lot of people have been hating on Teddy on the low. That's fine, whatever.
Good.
Is Teddy doesn't turn the football over like that. I just think that Teddy's good for this offense, depending on what they want to run. He's good for Ron Rivera. Like Ron Rivera likes quarterbacks like Teddy Bridgewater. He does. He likes quarterbacks like Teddy, who doesn't turn the football over.
He's a defensive-minded coach. Every defensive-minded coach.
So
don't turn the football over.
Yeah, I mean, it's not sexy to a lot of people, but one thing Teddy does, I mean, Carolina was totally different, but Teddy, he wins. You know what I mean? He wins football games.
He was solid as a rookie.
He was solid in Carolina. He had injuries he had to fight through. But
I mean, he's going to be a solid player. He's never going to be a superstar. He's never going to be an MVP conversation. But if you put talent around him, like Minnesota had talent. Remember, Minnesota's defense was salacious with Everson Griffin, Danielle Hunter, and
that's a good point. Defensive talent. He was winning. He won football games for him. You're right. He
was 11-5, 10-6 all the time, and that's what I mean by consistently good with this Washington football team.
That's a good point.
Records like that. I'm not talking about winning division at 7-9. I'm talking about
of course not.
If you get a quarterback with any semblance of health and can play, this team, the way it was constructed last year, with minimal additions, will be a 10-6 team. And that's something to stand behind. Like, I'd rather stand behind a team be going 10-6 than a team when 7-9 made the playoffs. To me personally, because I don't see 7-9 playoff teams often. You see what I'm saying? That's not it happens like once every 6 or 7 years.
It's not supposed to happen though.
You know what I mean? Like so, but if you start getting into the 10-6 ranges, now you're in a better position every year in and year out. You know what I mean? You're winning more than you're losing. Camaraderie's up. Everybody's good, and coaches are retained. Coaches don't get fired. Teams actually do well. I mean,
man, only time will tell, man. We're just going to have to see. Like Ray said, we'll see where this team is at quarterback wise. Once free agency breaks open, and we'll see if they even try to attempt to get one. because
Next
it's
week
gonna
we
be
get good time.
essential. Yeah, I know, right? It's gonna be essential to see what if they want to take this thing to the next level. But subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Search all Burgundy and Gold, everything with the Urban Sports Scene. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page, man. Anything y'all want to, leave out and drop off before we dip out on this show? It's Biggie's day. It's been 24 years since the day Biggie passed, you know what I'm saying? So anything anybody want to say?
Hey,
Oh,
man.
I know Ray don't need to say anything. Ray already said something before.
I'm from Brooklyn, man.
Yeah.
I believe, you know what I mean? Like, Biggie grew up down the street, just spread love is the Brooklyn way, man.
Mm-hmm. My man,
Spread
dog.
love is the Brooklyn way.
My man. Yeah, man. 24 years, man. I can't believe it. But yeah, man,
Crazy.
it's gone way too early, bro. Way too early. All right, man. Appreciate everybody for listening to the show. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. 4 ages. You dig? Deuces. A mega. Lead us out, big homie.